The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody had a good week. Hope you've got some fun plans ahead for the weekend. We've got Easter on Sunday, so that always is a nice holiday. I like it when I see all the families getting dressed up and dressed nice and having Easter, lunch, brunch, family time, enjoying the simple things in life. Oh my God. Seriously, back to enjoying the simple things in life. I really do like Easter. I like seeing the sense of family that seems to come out on Easter. So that's nice. And I think it comes out even for people that don't really celebrate Easter. It just seems like a nice time to get together. So hopefully that is the case for many of you. Anyway, wanted to kind of use today to tie up a couple loose ends and revisit a couple things from this week and overall, and then talk about a few different things, which I hope are interesting. But, I had a lot of good conversations over the past really week or so on probably the two main topics that have been in the news. Well, three, and those being the Kate Middleton cancer situation, and then this bridge collapse in Baltimore. And then the third one, I guess, would be the Diddy stuff, although the Diddy stuff has been more funny conversations versus serious conversations. But on the first two, gosh, it's interesting. People are so, I guess this is a little bit par for the course with everything, but a lot of people just immediately go to, I guess, defending what's happened as there being no real chance of anything besides exactly what we're told. And again, that's cool if that's your take on something. But let me start off with the bridge collapse situation. And I wrote down several of the good points various friends made during different conversations. So in regards to the Dolly container ship that rammed in and smashed the Francis Scott Key Bridge, here's some really good points about that. First of all, it is a container ship owned by a privately held corporation, and then one of the largest shipping container companies in the world is a company called Maersk. You'll see their logo on these massive containers. I believe their company's spelled Maersk. Let me check that. Yeah, Maersk. It looks like they're a Danish company. Danish shipping giant Maersk. Maersk. Anyway, the Dolly is managed by a company called Synergy Marine Group, and it's a Singapore-based company with over 660 ships under management around the world. So obviously 660 of those ships that, oh my gosh, I have to imagine. Let me see if I can figure out how much one of those ships costs. All right, so one of those ships probably costs 50 to 200 million, depending on the level of technology that's used. And obviously the newer ones would cost, I'm assuming, more. But let's say $50 million on average for one of those ships, right? And we multiply that by 660. So that's $33 trillion of ships that company owns, okay? Now, I'm going somewhere with this. So they own $33 trillion of ships, and that's the Synergy Group partnership. And then Maersk, I'm sure they're a monster corporation because they're the number one shipping container company. Anyway, my point is they obviously have ridiculous insurance. I'm sure they're required to carry unbelievable and ungodly amounts of liability insurance and overall umbrella insurance and pretty much every kind of insurance possible. And so, when this happened, you would think that obviously the entities that own the ship and that caused the problem should be held responsible, and they should, file an insurance claim. I mean, that's a monster claim, but based on everything that the public's seen, I'm sure that the claim would get paid, right? Well, that's not what happened.
My intention that federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt.
All right, so let me cut it there for a second. So obviously that was President Biden. In his first press release statement or his first interview about the bridge, I did think it was weird that he immediately went to that and he said, hey, we're going to pay for it all. It's all good. We got it. And then some savvy reporters did manage to kind of press him a little bit.
You said the federal government's also going to pay for the repairs. I'm just curious, this was a ship that appears to be at fault. Is there any reason to believe that the company behind the ship should be held responsible? And then also you mentioned...
That could be, but we're not going to wait till that happen. We're going to pay for it to get the bridge rebuilt and opened.
All right. So again, just building on that a little bit, I do think it's a little strange that he jumped so quickly to say the federal government's going to take care of it. And so obviously you've got a lot of people that on social media, on various platforms that are like, that's ridiculous. Why is the federal government taking care of this? It's a massive, massive privately held company with, multiple partners and obviously tremendous financial resources at their disposal. It was their fault. Why aren't they paying for it? So, that's a great question. That's a great question. And there's been no retort answer to that. The second thing is we've heard nothing from the company. Why is the company CEO not being compelled to come and explain to the American people, and especially the people and the family members of those that lost lives? It looks like there's 6 dead so far. And just all of the destruction and mayhem that this is causing, why is the CEO of Maersk or that conglomerate not coming forward and basically giving us some justification and taking responsibility? If you think about it, what's happening in concert right now for Boeing, if you're following the Boeing crisis with all the issues with their planes, their CEO is actually resigning at the end of the year. So there's so much controversy with Boeing and plane safety. I kind of touched on it in a previous episode, but Boeing is being held to the fire, and they absolutely have had to come out and take responsibility. So why have we not heard anything from the shipping company and the owners of that vessel? That's strange. I find that weird. The last thing on that is, where's the captain? Who's the captain? There were rumors floating around that the captain was Ukrainian, or there was a Ukrainian captain. Again, it looks like they have said that's not the case. It looks like the captain was a guy from India. But again, where's the captain? Why are we not hearing from the captain, the crew? Why are they not being required to basically have a press conference and explain what happened? What happened? How does something like that absolutely happen? Now, I'm sure there are legalities and other things in regards to that, but it seems like red tape can get cut through when it is wanted, but obviously it becomes double thick when it's not. So, I'd love to hear from the captain and understand, but at a minimum, I really would expect we hear more from the ownership of that vessel, of the Dolly, and again, have an explanation of what they're saying went wrong. So that's odd. That actually kind of leads to the second thing, and I'm not going to belabor this one too much, but again, with the entire Kate Middleton situation, it's been probably just about a week now, or 8 days now. And again, neither hide nor hair from their medical team. And the reason I'm bringing that up again is I had another doctor friend who's actually an oncologist. So if you don't know what an oncologist is, he's basically a cancer doctor specializing in cancer. And so he called me and he said, "Hey, I listened to the episode and your other buddy who's a doctor is totally right." He's like, he basically said, "I was talking to my wife and I was telling her how strange it is that her medical team, especially, I'm sure they're able to access any oncologist probably in the world that they would want." He said, "I don't understand why they're not front and center on this and really just helping people understand exactly what is going on. They haven't revealed the form of cancer, the stage." He's like, "There's so many things that can be done and said, and they really should be taking the lead on this." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." He said, and then my wife proceeded to yell at me and tell me to leave Kate Middleton alone. I was like, okay, there it is. That plays on what we talked about previously. The Middleton Ifties. They're kind of like the Taylor Swifties. Anyway, again, I did want to mention those two things because in another conversation with a different friend, we kind of talked about these things and I mentioned those and basically I said, and I'm going to read it. I said, "I feel like when there's not transparency like that right away, that's your answer." And we were basically talking about those two things, the ship container situation and then the Kate Middleton stuff. And his response was, "Sadly, very little transparency overall these days." And so the last thing I wrote him was that, if more quote unquote weird stuff, I didn't say stuff, I said SHIT. If weird stuff keeps happening, then we know Kate and the bridge was the start of more to come. So that is the last thing I wanted to leave you with in regards to those topics. And that is, if nothing else strange for the next 4 months happens, then you know what? I'll take these two as anomalies and I'll actually agree with the narrative that is being presented, that it is legitimate what's going on with Kate Middleton and that the Dolly ship was an accident. That's fine. I will literally accept that if nothing else weird, like crazy weird, happens in the next 5 months. But I have a feeling this is the beginning of a string of weirdness. So anyway, we'll see about that.
This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents. Yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country. And I truly believe that we need to bring them back, and we have to bring them back fast. I think it's one of the biggest problems we have. That's why our country is going haywire. We've lost religion in our country.
All right, I guess we had President Biden, so now we have to have President Trump. And now we're shifting gears from $50 million container ships to $60 Bibles. Anyway, in the spirit and vein of calling a spade, and I guess now I'm going to give a trigger warning. Well, I should have probably gave it before I played that, but trigger warning to the Trump supporters and the Trump fans. And, he came out this week and looks like he's selling a $60 version of the Bible. And, I found that weird. I really did. I found it a little bit, I just found it weird. I found it very strange. And, it's not about the $60. I mean, a lot of people were like, oh, look, he's broke and he's trying to raise money for, his legal bills and all of the financial issues that are going on for him. I don't really think it's about that. I think it's more about basically just trying to make sure he's solidifying his evangelical and overall Christian base of supporters in the United States. And I really do want to do a more in-depth, thorough analysis on all this, but Man, I've really been surprised to understand just how big the base of voters that are Christian are in the United States. And let me read this to you. It says, looking at the broader religious composition, 64% of registered U.S. voters identified as Christians in recent years, a decline from 79% in 2008. Wow, that's amazing. White evangelical Protestants make up about 18% of registered voters. The political affiliations with this group lean heavily Republican, with a significant majority of white evangelical Protestants supporting the Republican Party.
All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. This Bible is a reminder that the biggest thing we have to bring back America and to make America great again is our religion. Religion is so important. It's so missing, but it's going to come back, and it's going to come back strong, just like our country is going to come back strong. Christians are under siege.
All right, let me stop it there real quick, and then I'll play the rest for you. Anyway, what I think is strange about this, or not really strange, but, Trump is not some big religious Christian guy. He's just not. And so, this to me, again, calling a spade, this is people always say, oh, he's not a politician and he's not, a political guy. Well, this is politics right there. That is absolutely politics. Like, this entire speech that he gave is really to shore up that base because, again, religion is not a cornerstone pillar that basically Trump has leveraged his entire life, or even in 2016, I went back and tried to find things in 2016 that spoke about religion. So again, it's not a core competency for him. Instead, it is the core competency for that Republican base, and honestly, really the Republican Party, I'm realizing, and more to come on that in another episode. But again, this to me shows that, even Trump, who a lot of people say, oh, the reason why we like him is because he's not political and he's not a politician. Well, again, you have to look at things through a different lens. And to me, this is his politicianing. This is him being a politician. It's in a slightly more subtle way, but again, I really do think that.
We must protect content that is pro-God. We love God.
If you truly can separate your emotions from Trump, you can get a good laugh out of the things he says, because think about it. We love God. He's a great guy. God, he's a great guy. He voted for me. He's I know that's a terrible Trump, but I think that's hilarious the way he just, nonchalantly and cavalierly talks about God. And that's why, honestly, I feel like this was intended, again, to shore up that base.
And we have to protect anything that is pro-God. I'm proud to endorse and encourage you to get this Bible. We must make America pray again. Pray, get educated, get motivated, and stand with me and the legions of Americans asking God to bless our great nation, to bring our great nation back, and to make America great again.
All right, anyway, I wanted to play that, obviously for all the reasons that I talked about, but for another reason, and that is, I really think I don't know, it's setting up for like a holy religious war. Like, I really am seeing that. And it's Christians on one side and then the Muslims on the other side. And then I think Judaism obviously aligns with Christianity in many ways, which we're going to talk about that in another episode. But anyway, as I've tried to think through, okay, if there is a big, disrupting event, what could it be? I don't really know what exactly with religion it could be, but I am really definitely seeing a little bit of a trend in terms of, I don't know, just this, pitting these religions against each other. And I think that's sad. I think that's incredibly sad. And unfortunately, though, if that is done, I don't really know how it could be done or how or what, but that's going to be powerful because obviously people are very, they're very passionate about their religion. And again, I can't say I am a organized religion person, but I appreciate people that are passionate about what they believe in. And so, if organized religion, whatever that religion is something that grounds you and that, brings stability and peace into your life, I mean, I support that 150,000,000%. Anything that is a benefit to you on a personal level or that you believe passionately about, I absolutely believe in. My issue sometimes becomes when those people are not tolerant of diverging opinions, and they're not tolerant of people that might not. And again, this is across the board, whatever religion we're talking about: Christianity, Islam, Judaism. The Buddhists are kind of the only ones that are like super cool about everything for everybody. But any the Hindus, anybody that believes in their religion but are not tolerant of others, that's where I'm like, okay, how does that make sense? That's not really, I feel like that you should be the most tolerant, not the least tolerant. Anyway, that is all for today. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a great Easter. I thought that would be, somewhat of an engaging topic to introduce because, again, I think religion is something that, could play a factor as we head closer to the election. Call a spade a spade. Talk to you soon.
The ending was terrific.
This episode is being brought to you by the upcoming book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You. That's right, Bro wrote a book, and it's coming soon. Stay tuned.